generation, it has started with the call to serve. Discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. Learning to dig deep and push through adversity together. Defending our nation and its people.
All right, folks, so I'm in a different setting. So in this video, we're going to talk about the Marine Corps, because we have to acknowledge that the United States Marine Corps, or Marines all over the world, they are part of the Navy. So they are part of maritime enforcement. They are part of ground force. And even though they want to distinguish themselves from everyone else, but the Marines is a part of the Navy. So they are part of naval forces, because the Navy doesn't have a ground force to take care of maritime needs and enforce tariffs and all that stuff. Well, not tariffs, but you know what I'm saying. The Marines is part of the Navy. They are part of the maritime for years. They are part of the maritime stuff. They are part of it. The Marine Corps is part of the maritime industry. That's it. They're just a ground force to enforce, to make sure that no threats is like endangering national security. So let's acknowledge it. As we go through the ranks and structure of the Marine Corps, it gets a little bit complicated. So we're going to talk about the enlisted side. So of course, if you're E1, you have no insignia, you came straight out of boot camp, you're a nobody at this point. So you got to work your way up. Now, that being said, when you get to E2, you're private first class, so you have a first chevron. I'm not sure, so those of you guys who are Marine veterans or who are in the Corps, please comment down below if I got it right. Lance Corporal, if you E3. I've encountered a Lance Corporal before when I was about to join the Marine Corps. And it has the 2 rifles and the chevron. I think it's something else. Corporal is E4. So if I'm getting this wrong, please correct me, because I forgot. So you have 2, I'm going to say chevrons. You have 2 upper chevrons with a rifle. Then you have E5. Now, the recruiter who was going to recruit me to the Marine Corps, his name was Sergeant Michelson. Shout out to you, man. He was an E5. And you also have E6. Then you have staff not commissioned officers, same thing in the Army and the Air Force. So you have that one as well. And then you also have you have E6. So E6 should be coming up anytime on the moment right now, I think. Yeah. So you have E7. So of course, E7 is equivalent to a Chief Petty Officer or a Master Chief Petty Officer. Master Sergeant is equivalent to a Master Chief Petty Officer. E7 is a Chief Petty Officer. That's the highest rank. Then you have your First Sergeant. So your First Sergeant is your Master Chief Petty Officer. Master Gunnery Sergeant is E9. That's a fleet commander. That's a Master Chief Commander. In the enlisted side, that's the highest rank. You're the top dog at that point. So at that point, you're the top dog. So you work your way up all the way to the top. Now we're gonna get to a warrant officer. So warrant officers, everyone has a warrant officer. So to be a warrant officer, you need to be enlisted for years and then sign an application, but you need to be in a specified field, a specific field to be a warrant officer. So a warrant officer does not require a bachelor's degree. So you have warrant officer 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the Marine Corps. So you don't need a bachelor's degree to be a warrant officer. You just gotta be enlisted for a couple of years. That's pretty much it. You can transfer into commissioned officer as well. There's a way to do it. Now we're getting commissioned officer. Commissioned officer is second lieutenant. That's equivalent to ensign in the Navy or Coast Guard. And then the second one is first lieutenant. So you have first lieutenant, the gold, silver bar. Then you have captain. Their captains is shorter. Wow, it's a bit shorter. Anyway, then you have your major, of course. Major is 04. And then you have your lieutenant commander, of course. You have your colonel as well. Brigadier general. Then you have your major general. So that's the highest rank. Then you have your lieutenant general. That's the highest rank. That's equivalent to admiral.